Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a grapevine fall wreath. And these are the supplies I'm using. I did add a styrofoam block to my grapevine. I added it with a pipe cleaner. I did use 2 pipe cleaners and it is covered in moss. And now I'm going to start with my bow. I'm only going to do a 3-loop bow. I only have 3 yards of this ribbon, so I did want some tails going down, and then later with the rest I ended up adding some more tails. But I'm just making a 3-loop bow. So you're just going to start with 1 loop, twist it, do another loop. You do want to make sure that they measure out about the same. These are about 6-inch loops. Now I'm going to cut it off, and I'm going to use some floral wire to wrap around the middle part of the bow. I'm going to get it as tight as I can, and then I'm going to wrap that around the middle part of that styrofoam on the wreath. Once you have it twist tied in the back, you just kind of poke the wires back into the grapevine. You can roll up your tails. They are going to fall. I was just kind of playing with it. I do end up dovetailing them later. Now I'm going to start off with my florals. I have a bunch of different florals I'm working with. This was some pumpkin florals I picked up from the Dollar Tree last year, and I believe I had 3 or 4 of them. So I'm going to start with a focal point right in the middle, and I want it as tall as possible. So what I'm doing here is I'm cutting it off, and I do have what they call a pick machine. So I'm going to add steel picks to the ends of my florals. I'm just going to dip it in my glue pot, and I'm going to start adding in layers. So I have the main one right down the middle, going straight up the middle of the wreath, and then I have 2 on either side of the block, just to get started. Next I had these leftover fall leaves. I believe these came from Dollar Tree as well. I could be wrong, it may have been Walmart, but I did break those down, and I'm going to do 1 on each side, and I'm just going to keep going in layers. I had a few sunflowers left over from last year, so I'm just kind of placing them randomly around the wreath. I just wanted to use them up. I did have a few more of these pumpkin picks from the Dollar Tree left over from last year, so I decided to just go ahead and use those up as well. Next, I'm going in with some cattails that I had from the Dollar Tree last year, and I'm basically just trying to use up everything I had from last year. They do come with like this plastic grass that's around the cattail. They call these cattails, that's what the bundle was called anyway, but I did remove the grass from these cattails. I didn't really care for the grass, so I just took it off. Every piece of floral or foliage that I'm adding, I do put a steel pick at the end of them, and I dip it in my glue pot first before I pierce it into the styrofoam. And there's my dog. His name is Batman. In and out. Didn't even know he was there. Okay, so the 2 pumpkin stems that are coming out from the bottom part of the wreath, I thought were too long, so I decided to clip them off, and I'm going to add it into the middle part of my wreath. Okay, next I had a bundle that I had picked up from Walmart last year that had pine cones and all kinds of fun foliage and leaves. So I broke that all apart and decided to add it throughout my wreath. I wanted all of my florals and my foliage to kind of pop up and out from this wreath, which is why I used a styrofoam block at the bottom of it first. I am really looking at every angle of this wreath because I don't want that styrofoam block to be seen. You just want to cover up your mechanics if at all possible. Okay, this is where I wanted to use up the rest of the ribbon that I had. So I'm going to take the strip that I have left and I'm going to basically cut it in half. So I am going to add tails. So right here, I'm just cutting this in half. I folded it over on itself and I'm going to cut it right down the middle. This is the steel pick machine. So you basically use that handle, you push forward and it gives you the pick. And then you're going to use the handle on the other side and you're going to go backwards to crimp the steel pick onto the ribbon. I use this method when I'm working with styrofoam, and this is an excellent way to get tails added to your arrangement even after you've made the bow. So I decided here I wanted the two tails, one on one side and one on the other side, but I do want them to kind of go up. So I was just kind of messing with the placement. I wanted to see how long the tails were going to be. I am going to cut those down. And I did one on the right side and then one on the left side. And I am piercing it through that styrofoam. So here I'm trimming down my tails and I am going to dovetail them. I had these left over from Hobby Lobby last year and I felt like it did need a little bit more orange, so I decided to go ahead and use up this stem that I had. Before I place them into the styrofoam, I am kind of fluffing them out, and then once I have them in the wreath, I kind of fluff them out a little bit more. This did turn out to be a really good filler. I also feel like it gave it just the amount of orange that it needed. Now I'm going in with the last piece. I did leave a longer piece because I knew I was going to have to add something to the top. It just felt like it needed something, and then once I added that in, I was completely satisfied. This is my completed project. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.